All right, I'm here with actor Cody Longo. We just saw a screening of his new film, Rich Boy, Rich Girl. But before we talk about the movie, let's talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to become a performer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're taking it way back.
Sure, love that. Well, I think I figured it out when I was like 11 or 12. Is when I really started loving filmmaking.
Hmm.
I remember being like the only kid that asked for a video camera for Christmas
Hmm.
at that age. And I used to do music videos with my friends and then create our own little movies. And so that's when I think I really started activating that passion for it.
Were you activating it as a performer, or were you activating it as possibly being a director?
Both,
Yeah.
both. Yeah, I was directing while being in my own pictures. Gosh, I wish I could find those old things. I honestly think that I dubbed over them and
Oh,
then
really?
retaped. Yeah, just to keep making
Now you
stuff.
have episodes of Jeopardy and not
Yeah,
your
because
first work.
those
Those
little
little dumb cassette things you
yeah,
can't use anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and they were expensive, so
Yeah.
like I just had to just remake stuff.
That was
Um,
back when you were a struggling
yes,
actor.
yeah, you're right.
Now you can afford to not tape over things.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Thanks to these guys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I would say right around then, and then I think throughout high school. I mean, it had to have been throughout high school. Is when I decided, okay, I'm really gonna try to make a career out of this
Mhm.
thing. I remember sitting. I was about to go to LA for the first time, and I was packing up my things. And I remember sitting down with my mom, and I was, of course, freaked out. I mean,
Of
I'm
course,
literally leaving
yeah.
the nest. And I sat with my mom, and I said, like, Mom, do you really think that I can do this? And she said, yeah. She goes, I really do. And I said, because this is a huge,
Yeah.
huge risk. Um, and I just want to make sure that I'm making the right decision. And she encouraged me, and that's when I think I knew that I was going to go after it and do it for a living.
That's a big step, and you weren't very old, right, when you did it?
No, I was
Like
let's see,
18
I
years?
was 17.
17.
17 when I left and decided obviously where I was going to go to school
Hmm.
and go out and start trying to make it happen.
What was the most daunting part of moving out on your own?
Um, I think it was, man, I think it was just missing my family.
Hmm.
I was ready to go. I was ready to leave the nest again, if you will. But I think it wasn't the financial part so much
Mhm.
because at that point I didn't I didn't really have a taste for how I wanted to live at all.
Right.
I knew I was going to do it, and I always read the stories about people living in their car
Hmm.
until they got that first gig, and so my mentality was like we're in this to win it, and
So you were willing to do that
so
if
I
you had
was
to.
I was willing. Yeah, I absolutely was willing to do it, and I didn't have to live out of my car per se. Like I was sleeping in my car, but I
Right.
definitely there was a point where I was out of any dorms. And I was working as many gigs as I could. I was working
Yeah.
a retail gig, catering gig, while paying for my acting, all my acting training. And I remember I was sleeping on somebody's couch, and I would wake up in the morning, go to the gym,
Hmm.
get ready and shower at the gym, and then go to work,
Hmm.
and then go to my classes in the evening, and then come back to the gym, shower up again, and then go to back to the house to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that hunger and determination that you had back then is what led to your success today, that you're still doing it after, I mean, you've been about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, going on about 12,
Mhm.
maybe even, maybe even 13. We're getting
Mhm.
close to 13 years. Yeah, I mean, you have to have crazy determination in this
Mhm.
business. I was definitely blessed to be able to have some success early on,
Yeah.
um, but I still had to grind even after those, like Bring It On and Fame.
Hmm.
Um, I was still grinding to prove myself as a young actor,
Yeah.
and not just a flash in the pan or just going to be doing the teen world.
Right.
Um, I knew that I was in this for the long run.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean that drive definitely has driven me to be here today,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
your two, I guess, longest running roles,
Hmm.
one was on Days of Our Lives, the
Yep.
other was on Hollywood Heights.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the differences in both of those. Did you feel more confident once you were going on to Hollywood Heights?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Days was a wild experience, because I shot all of that within. I think I was in between two projects that I had already been booked out for, so they squeezed me in to fit that character in, and I went in there, and the dialogue was very challenging. It was a different style than I was used to shooting. It was one take.
Yeah.
So I was freaked out because I'm used to,
Right.
we're used to at least having two.
Right, and
But
you're
it's
with people who've done it for
who've been doing it
so
for,
long,
well,
yeah.
actually with Crystal, she'd been doing it for like 20 years or something like that. And so she was the ultimate, and all my scenes were with her.
Of course, yeah. Throw you right into the fire, right?
Exactly right. And so I remember going onto set at 5 in the morning, 4:30, 5 in the morning. At that time, I didn't drink coffee.
First
I
mistake.
yeah,
Your career.
super. I mean, really, I remember being so just tired and shocked about, how much I'm having to like grind because I wanted to make everybody proud, and it was boot camp. So yes, to answer your question, going into Hollywood Heights, I had some more experience. It was a series that I was leading.
Yeah.
I wasn't just coming in and guesting on it.
Right.
So I was able to work with the creative process with our directors and with our producers and our executive producer about what we all wanted from the show and our ideas.
Right. As a whole cast, you were
As
able to do that?
yeah, as a whole cast, or me specifically, because I had this driving force of a character that had to bring us home.
Yeah.
With Brittany, and so I needed to know. I was able to be more involved rather than just thrown into the pit.
Did that add an extra pressure to you, and how did you handle that?
I was so excited about that series because I knew it was going to involve music so much, and
Which is another huge passion of yours.
yeah. So I went in there super pumped to do the best that I could do. I went in there excited to learn and start this journey because I knew it was going to be challenging because the style that we shot it in was heavy dialogue per day. It was 5-day. I mean, it's always a 5-day week, and we were shooting a lot of footage every day, and a lot of dialogue every day. So I knew that I was going in there to continue my training essentially.
Right.
I loved the character. The character was, I mean, it was like a dream character. He's a rock star, traveling,
absolutely, yeah.
So I was pumped. Yeah, I was very pumped. But at the same time, I was still nervous to have that much of a weight on my shoulders, and so
And still being relatively new to the industry.
yeah, exactly right. And I think that sometimes that causes just some insecurity going in, which I think is very natural as a young actor.
Of course.
And if you don't have it, then you're incredibly blessed, and it's
And good for you, right?
right. It's great.
Did that
So-
kind of mess with you a little bit, where you were dealing with a little bit less confidence than you would have liked to have at that point, but then you were the lead and the rock star of the
Right.
show, so you had to exude confidence.
So here's what Jill did. We had this opening scene where it's me on stage, and I'm in the middle of a show. Like I think I had just returned from like a world tour, and that was day one. So when I hit that stage, and I've always been that way, like with the music side and performing, it's just I totally let it all down and just went for it.
Yeah.
Because I embodied that character. But throughout the series, I definitely had some anxiety of trying to make sure that I was making my producers proud and happy with the material that we were shooting. So yeah, that definitely carried some nervousness and anxiety throughout, even when we were done shooting.
Right. And that lasted 2 seasons, right?
That lasted for 80 episodes.
80 episodes.
So technically, that would be
Was
like
it on every day?
It was on every night.
Oh, so that's yeah.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, 80 episodes is usually about 7 seasons.
So you banged out 170 episodes of television in what 2-3 years?
And yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
That's
it
a lot of
was.
work.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of pressure.
People don't
but
know
it
what it's
was
like to act until they do a soap opera.
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier today, that acting on a soap opera and shooting that much emotion, having to get it done in one, it's going to teach you.
Yeah, it's a one and
It's
done
going to put
industry.
you. It's going to put you through boot camp for
Mhm.
acting, for sure. But it also is. It can be frustrating at times because you really want to give it your best, and
Mhm.
sometimes that first take
Isn't your best
isn't
one,
the
yeah.
best one. I mean, sometimes it's that like a high emotion scene. You want to like work into it.
Once
Um,
Hollywood Heights was over, did you want to focus specifically on film work? I know you booked a lot of films
mhm.
after Hollywood Heights and worked very consistently.
Yeah, you know what? I took some time off after Hollywood Heights. I took
Mhm.
about, I don't know, 8 months off, and really focused on because I had just gotten signed musically.
Mhm.
I just got my first record deal.
Did Hollywood Heights help with that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I focused on music for a while, which was a nice breather because it was
Mhm.
sort of it was I was shooting that series. I was going to set every day and then coming right off set to shoot to record the soundtrack,
Mhm.
and record the songs for the show at the same time I was doing my album.
Right.
So it was a crazy amount of work and stress, but
Yeah.
also I say it's a crazy amount of work and stress, but it was an incredible blessing to have that available
Right.
and to be able to do what I was doing, and it prepped me for what I've done after that and what I'm going to be doing. So yeah,
Were you writing your own music at that point for
I
that new
was.
album? Oh, so right off the jump, you were doing your own.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
I had written music since I was, I don't know, I probably started writing music, oh geez, really early. On like a little Casio keyboard I used to
Mhm.
write, and then I would play by ear and listen to Bryan Adams
Mhm.
songs, and so yeah, I jumped right into writing my own album. I'm not saying that I was writing my best work,
Right. Well,
but I was writing, yeah.
and then did you put the music career on hold a little bit for your film work, or did you kind of try to do both in tandem?
Well, so I eventually learned how much love I have for creating and putting the music with my projects.
Hmm.
So I really started pushing for either my songs to be placed in the movies that I'm doing, because I think the end goal for me is to lead the films, but also have a major hand in executive producing the soundtracks as well. Because that's for me, that's the
Yeah.
dream. Because I would love to put together on every film that I do or TV project that I do.
Hmm.
Everybody knows it's going to be like a super cool soundtrack too.
Right.
So that definitely started embedding in my brain that okay, this is what I need to do to start being able to do it and start having like a good reputation that
Hmm.
yeah, I am doing good music with the films and also doing a great acting job as well. So I was just prepping myself,
Hmm.
um, as I'm still doing today. I'm just trying to push it forward. So
Yeah. And now you've moved with your family to
yeah.
Nashville.
Mhm.
You did do that to be on Nashville, correct?
Yes. So I actually, funny enough, I had met my wife in Los Angeles,
Hmm.
and we just had met. We
Hmm.
met one time, and she actually lived in Nashville at the time. So she came to LA for some events that she was doing.
Was she
She
pursuing music career?
she was not. So she's a prima ballerina, and she was a Tennessee Titans cheerleader at the
Okay.
time. And so she was doing an event with the LA Lakers for the ESPYs
Hmm.
as a dancer. And so I met her, and we just said hello, and we found out that we actually had a mutual friend. And so after that, we didn't see each other again besides like communication on the phone and whatnot for like
Hmm.
a good 6 months. Um, and I had never gotten calls to or opportunities to shoot anything in Nashville because the TV show sort of started that trend
Hmm.
to be able to shoot over there.
Hmm.
Um, and so then I got a call from my record company to go and work with a producer out in Nashville. And I had never expressed that I wanted to go at all. And then I got offered a film that was going to be shooting in Nashville, and that film actually fell through. And so I was like, this is sort of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, yeah. It's like all
And
signs are pointing in
yeah,
that direction.
exactly. And so I was at the point in my career, and personally, I needed to breathe for a bit.
Hmm.
And so I went to Nashville and recorded a couple of records and worked with a couple of writer producers out there for my project.
And still all your music that you wrote?
Still all my music, yep, and wrote and co-produced. And then I got the call to audition for the show for Nashville, and I got the role. And so I decided that I was done with LA for a little bit.
Yeah.
I loved the city. I loved the community. I loved the friends that I started having. I was at a point in my life where I had I just had hit a crossroads of the people that I was surrounding myself with, how I was feeling every day when I woke up. I mean, I wasn't the happiest I'd ever been.
Right.
And so I went out there to work, and I started feeling and finding like me again. So for my well-being and everything, I decided to pack up and move. And I didn't even go back and like think about it. I just made the call and got my apartment cleared, and
it's obviously changed your life
it
because
absolutely has.
you
Yeah.
have two beautiful children.
I
beautiful
do.
Wife.
Yeah, I have so we've been married for, I think we're going on 4 years now, or we will be, we've been married 4 years. And yes, we have a little 3-year-old daughter, Lila, and then our 1-year-old Elijah.
So it's your greatest role to date.
Yes, absolutely. It's my greatest role to date, and always will be as dad.
Yeah. Did your priorities change when you had kids, where it was not as much as about your career as, okay, what can I do within my career to make sure my children have a good future?
Yes, big time. Family and having the kids are the most important thing in my life. So, yeah, because when I was single before I decided that, okay, maybe it's time to start a family, number one priority was my career.
Right.
So I hustled hard and worked my butt off, and so yeah, everything switched because now I wanted to be home with my babies more. And
if you would have stayed in, sorry to interrupt you.
No.
If you would have stayed in LA, do you think you would have had the same outcome, or do you think it was harder within the LA scene to meet and settle down?
Yes, I really think, I don't think that I would have even given it an option to have another relationship in Los Angeles, and throughout that scene. It just wasn't something that I had been looking to do at all. The scene out there it's just different, and so my mentality out there was work, and I've always said, even before I decided to move, that once I got to the point in my career to leave LA and at least either move north of LA or somewhere, I knew that I didn't want to raise my family there. And it's nothing against LA. It's just I grew up in Denver, and it's just a different
atmosphere you were
and I think
used
that
to.
we as humans, we all kind of eventually find our way back home. And so Nashville just felt like home, and I started thinking about my children and their future and their comfort, and so I wanted to raise them in just out there.
Yeah, now you're hauling ass for a different reason.
Yeah.
You're still working hard.
I'm working hard and being chased around. So.
And now you're more into your music now. We'll talk about the film in one second, but you're really kind of buckling down, right, and doing a lot of songwriting.
Yes. So I've sort of put my artist brand on hold, and really have focused on writing and producing for other artists, and that goes back to the whole movie thing. I loved starting to be able to score films, and so I found that it was a better release, and it worked better for me when I was writing for other people, because I have an issue with judging myself incredibly hard. So I was getting in my own way when I was writing for myself. Like, okay, would I really say this? Am I telling the truth? Is this good enough? And once I let all that go, I started being able to really express and be good at something that I absolutely adored. And so once I realized that, and also I didn't want to do the tour life.
Yeah, that's
It's just
especially with kids and a wife at home. That's not
I didn't want to put them
especially a
right,
young
and
family.
I want them to be able to be with me all the time, and so
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to put them in the situation where we got to hit city to city,
Right.
just because I'm being selfish and I want them with me.
Right.
So
Especially at the age that they're at.
yeah, one and I mean
Yeah,
this was
one,
at
could you
1,
imagine?
2.
Yeah.
No way, no way. I don't care how nice my tour bus would be.
Or how nice your wife was at that point.
Right, exactly.
Things would
right.
probably go south pretty quickly.
Yes, exactly. I mean, she's wonderful. I think that she actually would be down to do it more than
Yeah.
I would.
Send her on the road.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's
Let's start
funny.
a
I tell
petition.
her, I say, no, like, you have to experience this because there's some things that like that I don't want to do in regards to going city to city, which I've done, or going back and grinding in LA again and raising babies in LA. She had never lived in LA, and I said, you know, it's just hard for her to comprehend what it's like out there, and I tell her all the time, I'm like, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's like you lived
Trust
that life
me.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, and so no, but so she would be the one to be more pro to like
Yeah.
take us on tour or something.
Well,
So
there you go.
Yeah.
You just got your walking papers.
yeah, exactly. Just bank on that. So, but yeah, I mean, I've started really focusing on the songwriting and producing for other artists, and also doing it for film and TV.
And now we just got done watching the premiere of your movie, Rich Boy, Rich Girl, which just dropped today,
Yeah.
Friday, the 31st, and it's available on video on demand as well.
Yes.
You play the lead in the movie, and quite frankly, not just because I'm sitting here interviewing you, you really carry that film and probably give the most honest portrayal in the actual film.
Wow.
And
Well,
you can really see the work that you put in. And I
Thank
know
you.
that it was 2 years ago from when it
yeah,
was
this
filmed
one, yeah.
to when it's actually finally dropping.
Yeah.
What was your experience like filming it then and then watching it now, and what do you think has changed for you, because now your kids are kind of in the mix a little bit more because they're getting little personalities and that kind of thing?
Right. So, I think I learned early enough. I think after a couple of projects, and I don't remember specifically which ones that made me just have this trigger, is once I'm done on set and it's our last day of filming, most of the time it's out of my hands where that movie's going, how it turns out.
Yeah.
I really do try to work with people that I trust as filmmakers, and you know that I love working with, and I love their work, so I know it's going to be hopefully a halfway decent movie.
Yeah.
So my last day on set, if I'm not doing the music, which I did do the music for this movie as well, if I'm not doing the music or don't have any say in post, I let that go. I know that I put my heart and soul into it. I put all my hard work, and I'm pretty hard on myself, so I make myself really study for the film and really try to put my best work out there, especially in a role like this where I'm in, I don't know, I'm probably
95% of the
yeah,
scenes,
exactly.
And you're basically carrying the movie. I know it's Rich Boy, Rich Girl, but
yeah, it does. It follows.
like your earnestness really pops out of the screen, and you can really see the connection you had with the role.
So kind of you to say that. Thank you. Yeah, so I try to connect as much as I can, I guess, with every role that I'm doing, and I definitely connected in a lot of ways to this one, because when I shot it and where I was at in my life, I could relate to just almost the unsureness that Andy has in this movie, and the eagerness to just do better every day.
Yeah.
And also I had just fallen in love with my wife and my brand new child at this point. And so I knew where to pull from to start creating from. I knew that honest love. So that was definitely a blessing to experience right before I shot this one.
Yeah, and I think from the limited amount of time that we've spent together today, we've been together about 6 hours now at this point. But seeing you in the film, I saw a younger Cody Longo.
Yeah.
And now I see today, not an old man, I see a settled Cody Longo who's not the doe-eyed. So I don't know if that's a testament to your acting, or if in just those 2 years you've matured so
Oh,
much in
well,
just terms of the way you carry things, whether it's because you're a father, whether it's because you're enjoying your life now so much more because you're doing the songwriting, that kind of thing. But just the presence you give off now and the presence you give off in this film, it's like worlds apart, which I think was super impressive to watch that film after spending time with you. If that
wow.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again for saying that. You're paying me a bunch of compliments.
Well, I
appreciate
made
it.
them. I don't pay
Well,
false
thank
compliments.
you. Yeah, I think that I hope I've grown in 2 years as a person and a human being. Yeah, I've put a lot of work into myself.
Yeah.
Because I see the man that I know I want to be,
Mhm.
and then I saw my 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I knew I know how to put the work in
Mhm.
to become the great father that I know I am,
Mhm.
the great husband, and the things that are most important to me. I we all have to work to get to that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not life is not an easy thing. So I look up and have mentors, and I see who they are today compared to, again, how they were in their 20s and figuring it all out.
Mhm.
I think that, yeah, within the last 2 years, I've been figuring out how to really be a man.
Yeah.
Um,
You can see that transformation from your character to the man that's sitting here.
yeah,
It's just very evident. And obviously, I didn't know you back when you were filming. You're
Sure.
obviously an actor. You
Right.
could obviously be playing whatever you want to play to
Right.
make
Right.
the audience feel what they're doing. But sitting here now, I know you're proud of where you came from in your 20s
Mhm.
to being a father now. When you were in your 20s
Yeah.
and shit was happening,
Yeah.
did you ever think you were going to get to a point that you were today, or that you are today?
I did, yeah, I did, but I had to struggle a bit to get here.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, I had some challenges
Mhm.
in my life before that
Mhm.
because I was filled with I struggle with anxiety majorly. So I had a substance abuse problem. I mean by substance a bit okay, but yeah, I'm very open to it. So,
Okay.
I was drinking too much
Mhm.
because I was avoiding dealing with how to deal with my anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, and I have no problem talking about it now because I've come a
So
long
far,
way. Yeah, and I also want people to know that you can really
Mhm.
if you put work into yourself,
You can.
you can
Yeah.
come out way brighter on the other side.
Absolutely.
So I knew the work that I had to put into myself as a human being
Mhm.
before I could show my children how to be great human beings.
That's what literally was going to come out of my mouth before you
So
said it was, do you think when your children are older, obviously not while you're watching Sesame Street, hey,
yeah,
guess what daddy did?
right.
But do you think when they're older that you will tell them what you had gone through in your younger years and the man you've become,
100%.
and to show them this is what hard work can do,
Yeah.
whether it be in your career, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be overcoming addiction,
Yep.
whatever it is that
Well,
you can do it, just put in the work.
100%. I will be as honest with them
Mhm.
as they get as appropriate. You know,
Right, right.
as
Yeah,
they
not
get older.
tomorrow. I don't expect you to go home and like
Yeah, no, when
pop
they
some
turn
Cheerios in their mouth
right,
and then like
exactly.
have it eat True Hollywood Story.
Right. No, but I think yeah, because my mother was very honest with me
Mhm.
about anything that she went through in life. My father was very honest with me eventually very honest with me about everything that he went through in life,
Mhm.
and we all have our own unique struggles and paths, and having shared those stories with them or them having to share
Mhm.
those stories with me, it helped me understand how to deal with things if they ever come up like that.
Yeah.
So I think that it's an incredible blessing to be able to be real with your kids
Mhm.
and just so they know, like, I worked my butt off
Mhm.
to be here for you.
Yeah.
And that's really who I live for is
Right.
is my babies and my wife, and
Yeah.
I think to answer your question in the first place, I think that I've learned to not live for myself so much,
Mhm.
and I've really learned to.
I think that's the true sign of maturity.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I've learned that absolutely adore helping people.
Mhm.
I've gone to work with people that were struggling with addiction, and they've used my story, and they've overcome whatever they were doing.
Did you ever think of using your celebrity for that purpose and getting behind a mental health initiative or
Oh,
substance abuse initiative or
yeah,
anything like that?
1,000%. We'll use it in the future as the right one comes up.
Do you use it in your music, in your writing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, whenever we're writing something in a place from pain, that was like my most painful
Mhm.
time, because yeah, I hated having to deal with something every day that was like paining me inside.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, of course, I definitely pull from that experience of having that anxiety and that pain every day and just not knowing how to deal with it. So I try to
Mhm.
numb it.
Mhm.
And so once I figured out through therapy
Yeah, yeah.
and everything and how to deal with something that's eating at you,
Mhm.
and we all we grew up and we were kids, and
Mhm.
we all have experiences
Right.
that are we some of us tuck them or whatever it is. But yeah, I definitely had some mental stuff that I had to work out,
Mhm.
and it either comes out in your early 20s
Yeah.
or whenever. But
Right.
my time was right in my mid 20s when I was
Which is a
like,
struggle because you're being forced into the limelight
yeah,
and being put in this. I don't want to use the word awful position. You're being put in a position where people can take advantage of your youth,
sure,
of your desire to be successful,
sure,
of just in general Hollywood itself. Like, oh, here's this kid,
yeah,
not right off the turnip truck,
right.
which is a bad way to
But
phrase it,
yeah, I totally.
but they see, oh, let's mold this kid into what we want to be, and then you're trying to be fitting in, and then you're like, oh, well, these people do this, maybe. So
Yeah.
it's on top
And
of trying to make
here's
yourself
the
a
deal that
career.
I think, and I actually know that there's people out there that don't talk about the fact that they've had issues
Hmm.
like that, like an issue with addiction or
Hmm.
whatever it is. And I think that if I can do my part in Hollywood
Yeah.
as an entertainer to make it a little bit better of a place,
Hmm.
to make people be able to relate to something they're going through when they look up to somebody.
Hmm.
Like I look at Robert Downey Jr.'s story,
Yeah.
and that's inspiring.
Hmm.
Like that's incredible. He went through some really wild stuff,
And came out the other side,
and
and
drug abuse and
yeah.
everything to that extreme. And yeah, his story is incredibly inspiring. I mean,
Yeah.
so if I can do my part and be honest
Hmm.
and say, yeah, look, I had an issue that I was dealing with. I had a
Mhm.
substance issue. I was drinking a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And if somebody watches and they're like, whoa, if he can come out on the other side, have a beautiful family,
Hmm.
and live a steady lifestyle, then I can too.
I think, first of all, it's very brave of you to be so open and honest. And I do feel that you will help people, just people who are seeing this video.
Yeah.
I noticed, I'm a big ink person, as you can see as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I've noticed that you have some religious ink.
Yeah.
Is your faith something that has seen you through your dark times?
Oh my goodness
given
gracious.
you
Yes.
praise for your good times that you're in now, having a family and.
Yeah. My faith has everything
Mhm.
to do with getting me through anything in life.
Mhm.
That's it's a number one priority to me, right up there with my family,
Mhm.
is my relationship.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and it's always been that way. I grew up in a little bit of church.
Right,
I went to
right.
Catholic school.
Oh yeah, we.
I mean,
the
not to
Reformed,
say
the
that
Catholic-
helped or didn't
Yeah,
help me, but
that's what led you to drinking.
right. No. But Christianity is extremely important to me, but also just just having that relationship with the greater power, and
Yeah.
having that respect is something that is very important in my household. I don't judge if it's not important in anybody else's.
Yeah.
That's none of my business.
It's about your journey.
It's about
your
exactly,
heart, and
yeah. So,
what
but
you
my
believe.
journey is a major is has turned out great
Mhm.
due to my relationship and my faith.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Do you feel now that you're, I know when we first started having interactions on
Yeah.
Instagram, there was a little bit back and forth of, I think one was trying to figure out the other, and you know what I mean? And
oh
like,
sure.
do you feel like you still put walls up as a protection based on things that have happened to you earlier in your career, or is it just because in this day and age where I can DM you or you can DM me
Sure.
that it's like, oh well, wait, I'm not comfortable with this aspect or that aspect.
Well, it stems from a couple of things. Because I've gone, like I've been hacked before, and or like, yeah. So, of course, I always it's very hard to trust anybody.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's really what it is, and yeah, it stems from a couple of experiences in the past. Um, and it can be like a very backstabbing and rumoring business,
Mhm.
and so I'm always careful with that. Like
Yeah.
I was taught that as at a very early in my career,
Right.
that just to be careful who you're trusting with
100%.
anything. So
And you don't know where the other person is coming from. You don't know that my point of view is this way, where I'm not thinking, oh, well, he's worried that I'm going to use whatever information he gives me.
Sure.
Where to me, it's like, well, I'm not going to do that, but you
Right.
don't know that I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
So I
right.
feel like there was preconceived notions, I think, with us. And I think we just spent 6.5 hours together. And
Yeah.
I know there's a respect there.
Yes.
That I respected your work and before, and now I respect you as a person.
Well, thank you.
And and I am
And-
going to be presumptuous in thinking it's a two-way street. At this
Yes,
point.
likewise,
Yeah.
100%. But and this is why, like, I actually wish, in some of the best interviews and experiences like this, happen to be spending a day,
Yeah.
or like, a full. We got to have dinner together.
Mhm.
And you got to sit through our movie for
Mhm.
2 hours, and then we took a drive together and had
And
really,
we got one ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. And so
we haven't survived this night yet.
Right. So we've been able to have great conversation,
Yeah.
and if every interview could be like this,
Yeah.
then I would love that.
It just goes
Because
to show
also,
communication is
right,
so
but
important.
and also like when we do quick interviews, I don't think, depending on what we're doing it for, and like this could have been just for the movie. Hey, how was the movie? How was
Yeah.
your experience with this? And sometimes we don't really get to know somebody, or we don't really get to answer like the questions in full.
Right.
So we kind of leave it up to the audience to assume whatever they want. And so I enjoy this because I get to speak my truth a little bit more, and I think it
Yeah.
has a better effect on the people that are watching the videos.
There's not 1% of me that feels like you have not been 100% honest
Right.
in this interview and comfortable. And I feel like I had no intentions of talking about some of the things we talked about, which you can
Yeah.
probably hear audibly when you started talking about things, because I
Yeah.
didn't want you to think that that's what this was going to be about. And I just feel that we
Yeah.
connected, which I love when I'm doing these conversations, I call them.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, I appreciate
very
that.
much appreciate you taking the time
Yeah.
to put down your walls a little bit,
Oh,
and for me to
yeah.
put down mine, and
It was my
and have
pleasure.
a great afternoon.
Yeah, thank
Cody,
you so
thank you
much.
so much. It's been a pleasure. I hope everybody goes to see this movie. You definitely carry it. You can definitely see heart in this project, and
Well, thank
so
you.
I wish
Well,
you all the success in the future, and have a feeling this will not be our last
I
interview.
appreciate that, and I hope there's a lot more to come.
Yeah,
So,
awesome, Cody.
all right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right.